And welcome again to the big match. And a little bonus for you all late in the programme today. But before we get to that, we have, of course, once more for you, action from 3 of yesterday's games. And our main match comes from Stamford Bridge. Chelsea against West Ham.
My goodness, he'd love one on his old ground where he started his professional career. There's Greaves on the turn!
Also, Stoke against Derby.
Smith going for it. Oh, what a magnificent save!
And Bristol City against Charlton Athletic.
Oh, nice pass. Chance for Plum. Hit the post!
And from Stoke, we get the ups and downs of goalkeeper Les Green. From Bristol, I think probably the most remarkable penalty that you're likely to see for quite a long time. And that bonus that I mentioned a moment ago, well, today we take a look back at some of the great moments on the big match over the past year. For example, we have a snatch of Allison versus Mullery. We have some tension on the field as well. We have some great goals to show you. I think you're going to enjoy this little look back on the last year. But first now, let's get the programme moving with that game at Stamford Bridge yesterday, Chelsea against West Ham. And what a contrast between these two clubs. Chelsea starting 4th from the top of the First Division and West Ham 4 from the bottom. Yet the overriding feeling is that rarely is there a bad match when these two clubs meet. And the Chelsea goalkeeper, Peter Bonetti here, of course, he would have played in quite a few of them, but the Chelsea side today, without Ian Hutchinson, who's injured, Tommy Baldwin takes his place. And facing this Chelsea side today, we have a West Ham team without their top striker, Geoff Hurst. But Jimmy Greaves returns to the ground where he began his professional career and once scored 41 goals in a season. Well, he made an impact then. Keith Weller, Chelsea's top scorer with 12, is making the impact now. Close to Christmas, a bad day for crowds, 42,000, and referee Dennis Pugh of Chester to get us going.
So Chelsea got us away then, defending the goal to our right in the all dark strip, all blue. West Ham in their familiar claret and blue, and the first touch of the ball for their goalkeeper, Bobby Ferguson. Quite a happy hunting ground this for West Ham, in fact. They've lost only 1 of their last 8 visits here in the league, but of course very much weaker now without Geoff Hurst. Cook. Well, I like very much the philosophy of their manager Ron Greenwood, quoted yesterday saying it's no use dwelling on our bad luck, you've got to live with it, and that's the sort of spirit I suppose that he'll want to instill in the side this afternoon. Bobby Ferguson had 10 months in the reserves. Webb getting ahead to it. Houseman to Harris. Almost arrogantly trying to get it back to Houseman again. Moore coming in fast. And Hollins sending Weller away. And Lampard should be covering for West Ham. A nice little nodded header there. Weller so quick on that one. 12 goals this season. Jimmy Greaves to Bobby Moore. Forward now to Brooking. Greaves on the left. West Ham saying that they like to play with wingers here. Greaves looks as though he might be one of them. Hollins. But really it is a formidable task for West Ham. Down goes Weller, and a free kick to Chelsea. A formidable task for West Ham this afternoon, in spite of their good record here. And in fact, John Battersby, the Chelsea secretary soon to retire, said that he can't remember a December when they've managed to be able to make the pitch look so good, so Wembley-like with those lines. An indication of the mild winter that we've had. Moore again covering with all his impeccable coolness at the back for West Ham. Billy Bonds. And I think a little ambitious there for Johnny Harris, with Webb and Harris covering. Baldwin. And now Cook. Bonds to Eustace. Deer. And a good strong challenge there by Jimmy Lindsay. And Greaves making a run for him as well. Greaves going in hard, and Webb spotting it to put it back to Bonetti. He really went bursting in there very quickly on the blind side, Jimmy Greaves. Baldwin. And a good interception there by Eustace. Moore almost playing that back a little too finely. Lindsay, a good-looking ball there for Bonds, who'd made a good run for West Ham, and still Bonds. Turned inside, Greaves going in fast. Thwarted at the very last by Chelsea. But a good imaginative attack there by West Ham, with Bonds playing a full part in it. But now Hollins for Chelsea. And again, Weller's made the burst. Lampard straining to keep with him. And Lampard finally giving away the corner. No, it must have been a corner. John Hollins thinking it's a throw. And it's going to be Charlie Cook to take it. Seems to take all the Chelsea corners. David Webb once more into that West Ham penalty area. And Webb, in fact, getting ahead to it. Lampard kicking it off that West Ham line. Cook again. And a very good-looking one. Headed back, in fact, by Osgood. And there really is a question mark against West Ham in the air, right in that those deep penalty area situations. Hinton, Houseman, past Bonds, and Ayres coming to do his bit. Chelsea's throw. No, West Ham's. Tommy Taylor. And now Eustace. Deere, again taking it on his body, playing it back, finding Ayres, or rather Lindsay. Osgood. And Lindsay fighting hard for it. Osgood having just that little bit extra skill. Taunting and tempting him and finally beating him and looking for Baldwin. Tommy Baldwin in the side because Ian Hutchinson is unfit, of course. Chelsea's throw, and Peter Houseman. Osgood. Oh, he slipped as he tried to find Weller on the far side, so it's Brookie. Lampard. For Eustace. Lampard again. And Brookie. Tommy Baldwin for Chelsea. Osgood and Cook. And Boyle making a tremendous run down the right. What a good run by Boyle, with Baldwin in the middle and Weller going in hard as well. And a corner off Lampard. Johnny Boyle, who's 24 on Christmas Day, a Scot, and one of Chelsea's good reserves, now finding his place in the side. That really was a good run down the right by him. A rather laboured one, but he got there. Cook with the corner. And just past that post, headed there by Tommy Baldwin. And again, Chelsea winning these balls in the air. And I would think that West Ham must be missing the striking power and the heading ability of Geoff Hurst up front. And Eustace quite deliberately handling the ball, but no more than a severe word there from the referee. So Chelsea's free kick, Marvin Hinton. Taylor and Bonds getting into trouble there. Baldwin with a header. And I would think Tommy Baldwin didn't quite make as much of that as he might have done. Greaves to Moore. Greaves again. And Deere with his head, this time nicely for Lindsay, and what a good ball from Lindsay, played first time for Ayres. Now can Ayres take on Harris? He can, and beat him. And Houseman. Oh, and Harris getting in very hard there. And he sent Osgood away, and he's onside all right. Osgood! That must be it! Peter Osgood! A really decisive Rice had gone in hard on Eris and found Osgood, who really tore the West Ham defence what was left of it apart. A fine goal then by Osgood, and one he badly needed. He'd scored only 2 in the league so far this season, 4 altogether, and now he makes it 5. So that's 18 minutes gone. And now Lampard for West Ham. Brooking. And Bonds. Well, he's looking for Bonds. And Bonds' determination winning it for him. Cook to head away. West Ham, of course, only 4th from the bottom of the First Division. And yet they won their last away match at Derby. And have felt themselves that they're playing a little bit better. There's Geoff Hurst on the left, and on the right of that picture, Ian Hutchinson, 2 of the bravest strikers in the game, both out with injury. Now Osgood. And Osgood once more. That's looking for Baldwin, cut out by Moore. Brooking away. And the game really now beginning to warm up into something. Houseman. Baldwin at the far side, and good work there by Ferguson. Osgood now beginning to find his form and flair. Eustace. Billy Bonds to Trevor Brooking. Deere going for this one, but Hollins winning it in the air. Harris. And Bonds in against Harris. Hollins. West Ham's throw. Deere. Brooking, good control by Trevor Brooking. And a shot that was wildly off the target. Trevor Brooking, one of these players who's been called back into this West Ham side as they look for a bit of form, and so it's a big opportunity for him. Here's Bonetti. Played more times in the Chelsea first team than anybody in the club's history. Boyle beating Greaves. Hollins. And now Cook. Hollins again made the burst, the full-back's overlap. And then Baldwin going in on it. Tommy Taylor taking the safe way out. By the look that Bobby Moore gave him, though, I don't think he felt that it was the thing he should have done, that they had time to put it back to Ferguson. But Taylor, the number 5, was taking no chances, and it's the corner. Bobby Moore then at the near post. They got Lampard at the far post, and they got Ferguson in between them. And by the way Chelsea are winning the ball in the air, they might need them. Cook with a corner. And this time Eustace getting it away. Osgood! Oh, it's there by Osgood, number 2. Just over that West Ham line with 22 minutes gone. And Chelsea was delighted. So although West Ham have looked so vulnerable in the air, that goal came from the ground, as indeed the first one did. And Chelsea nicely placed with 22 minutes gone. Well, now his form really has come back, Osgood, and he'll be well delighted. To Brooking. Eustace. Another slanting cross there, hoping that Deere will get to it. In fact, he went off the head of Webb into the arms of Bonetti once more. Tommy Baldwin. Hollins. Taylor away for West Ham. He kept his head well there. He didn't have too much space, but he found Eustace. Now Eris. Greaves playing it off for Brooking. Brooking forward now for Deer. Can Deer turn it in? Good work by Bonetti. My goodness, Deer was given a tremendous amount of room there by that Chelsea defence. Baldwin back for Hollins. Seems to be so much more aggression about Chelsea when they do come forward. Coming forward as though they really mean it. And here's Osgood again. And punched away by Ferguson. Hollins following it in. Two number 4s, Hollins and Eustace. Houseman. Curler towards the near post. And a push in the back surely on Taylor by Baldwin. And West Ham's free kick. One of those near post crosses from Houseman that Hutchinson makes such a speciality of. Jimmy Greaves winning one in the air, but Hinton covering for Chelsea, doing well. Such a consistent defender, Marvin Hinton. Well, they've run well for Osgood there. Oh, and now for Weller, with a shot that's over. But still Chelsea coming forward with such purpose. And Osgood usually at the centre of most things this afternoon. It hasn't really been his season quite so far, as I say, with only 2 goals in the league, but he's equalled those 2 already in this match. Deer again getting ahead to it. And Eris taking that challenge from Harris. Webb away, but only as far as Eris again. A lot of skill and a lot of cheek there by John Eris. Lampard to Lindsay. And turned in there looking for Deer again. And Hinton to turn it behind for the corner to West Ham. While Hinton's taking his place in a very crowded Chelsea goalmouth. Taylor's gone up for West Ham. That's virtually the angle that Bonetti would see. Eris with the corner. Eustace looking for it with his head. Lampard to blast it through, and a goal by Frank Lampard, leaving Bonetti completely unsighted. But one that puts West Ham back in it. Well, that really was a turn-up, because West Ham really hadn't looked very much coming forward compared with Chelsea with all their aggression. But Lampard really belting that one through a crowded penalty area, giving Bonetti no chance. And West Ham back in it now with 5 minutes to go to half-time. So that'll give them a bit of heart. But the ball out of play, and Chelsea's throw. Lampard's first goal of the season. And it came at a very good moment for West Ham. Houseman then with the throw for Chelsea. Osgood, oh, very cunning, very skillful, and Lindsay to nod it away. Harris, and Hinton to Cook. Hinton again, turned high towards Baldwin, but Moore winning it, and Weller, oh, against the post! Well, West Ham really in luck there. And they say there are never bad games between these two sides, and really it's turning out that way again as Eustace picks it up for West Ham. Eris, a long one that looks for Greaves, but Greaves won't keep it in. And a West Ham player now down in that penalty area with Bobby Ferguson from that angle. I'm afraid I can't tell you who it is, but it's Frank Lampard. Lampard, such a hero a moment ago when he scored that equaliser. Well, Weller really did hammer that West Ham woodwork. Well, it's the right arm there, and certainly it's been a busy afternoon for Rob Jenkins, the West Ham physio. Well, Frank Lampard going on as well. Now Weller to Cook. And Hollins. Looking for Osgood, coming in fast and getting it with his head. And Ferguson, bundled over by Baldwin, unfairly with his feet off the ground. As the whistle goes for the end of a highly entertaining first half here at Stamford Bridge, with Chelsea leading by 2-0, both their goals coming from Peter Osgood, and West Ham, who seemed out of it and then suddenly brought right back into the game with that goal by Frank Lampard. So a lot more to come still on the big match this afternoon. The half-time score at Stamford Bridge: Chelsea 2, West Ham United 1. On for West Ham, and Lampard is off. Thank you, David. Well done. So West Ham kick off at the start of the second half with their substitute Clyde Best on for Frank Lampard, who was injured just before half-time. Lampard, of course, the scorer of the West Ham goal. And certainly Best is in a good goal-scoring streak at the moment, because he scored something like 5 in the last 5 games for West Ham. Cook now for Chelsea. To Hinton. And now to Houseman. Bonds in quickly. Harris. And Baldwin for Osgood, who really seems to be relishing this game this afternoon, Peter Osgood. And a nice ball there for Hollins to turn it through, and Moore blocking it, but it looked as though it was going dangerously towards that far post. Hollins, who makes these breaks when none suspect. Now Greaves. But Harris getting there a fraction before Aris. Weller for Chelsea. And Osgood against the bar, and what a magnificent move there, and a fine header by Osgood. Lovely little cross, though, by Weller, too. Just over a quarter of an hour left for West Ham to do something about this 1-goal deficit. West Ham, in fact, in 2 derby games away from home, have each time got draws against Spurs on the opening day of the season and against Crystal Palace. Brooking, a slack pass there, straight for Weller. Brooking trying to make amends, and Weller's hard to shake off. And still Weller going on, beautiful piece of play, and it's Hollins right in there with a header that's just passed. Again, one of those so deceptive bursts by John Hollins. And Weller, who made a really marvellous run down there, taking advantage of that poor pass from Brooking. Beautifully weighted cross. Hinton with his head, but only as far as Aris. Lindsay inside Aris, but he's aiming instead for Best, and not very accurately at that. Houseman holding off Bonds and finding Cook. Taylor to Aris. Aris at the moment looking a bit like a 17-year-old, and just a little bit lightweight for what's demanded at the moment, but a player of such tremendous potential. And a good deal of courage as well. He was really right back there fighting to get that one clear for West Ham. Here he goes again. Good play again by young Aris. And here he is again. All just a little bit muddled, and now it comes to Best with a bit of space, and now Greaves to Eustace. Several West Ham players coming forward now. Lindsay. Greaves is right up there as well. My goodness, he'd love one on his old ground where he started his professional career. There's Greaves on the turn, and my goodness, pulling out a fine save from Bonetti. Greaves, who has now settled into this midfield slot with Lampard off and with Eustace back in defence. But really showing the strikers what to do there. Weller, all the pace in the world and more, with all the confidence in the world and the skill to go with it. Eustace to Bobby Moore. Taylor. It's gone all the way along that West Ham back four now to Billy Bonds. Best getting up well in the air. Webb to get it away. Hollins there and taking a little too much time. And Brooking, can he get a shot in? A deflection there. And a goal! Yes, no, disallowed. Disallowed. What for, says Brian Deere. And that's something we shall have to look at later in the programme. But it was disallowed. A West Ham fan is on the field. But the referee has disallowed it. Jimmy Greaves looks sick about it. Well, I think it'll be very interesting to look at that one again later in the programme. And now, Hollins away. Hard and low across, Moore to get it away. Weller all the time is off the pitch, as you can see in the picture there. Getting treatment from Harry Medhurst. Osgood, dummying Taylor. And taking it onto his right foot and dummying him again. That's twice he's done it. And trying once more, but Taylor staying cool, getting in the way of Bobby Moore. Well, I suppose it will come out of the ruck eventually. And it does to Osgood. Is this the hat-trick? It's in the goal. No, it's disallowed. The whistle had gone for a free kick, ironically enough, to Chelsea. Osgood, I suppose, a little upset that the referee didn't allow the game to go on and so allow him to achieve his hat-trick. But the free kick is for Chelsea. And that wall is a good 10 yards back. I've seen him much closer to the ball than that. Quickly taken and Moore getting it away. Hollins back for Boyle. Under 5 minutes to go now. Taylor, Eustace and Brooking. Ayres. Running in a bit of trouble there. Houseman for Chelsea. Played nicely for Harris, and Harris in turn for Hudson. And now Baldwin. Bonds going back, play on, says the referee. Bobby Moore. And there goes the final whistle. Another home victory for Chelsea and another defeat that they could ill afford for West Ham, with Peter Osgood having scored both those Chelsea goals in the first half, and Frank Lampard, who went off injured at half-time, scoring for West Ham. So the final score then here at Stamford Bridge is Chelsea 2, West Ham United 1.
Well, that's how that one finished. Still to come on the big match today, Stoke against Derby County and Bristol City against Charlton Athletic with that remarkable penalty, and of course our look back on a year with the big match. But let's take a closer look, first of all, at Chelsea against West Ham. Incidentally, that injury to Frank Lampard, the arm injury that caused him to go off at half-time, I gather it's not too serious, and I'm told that he's going to now have an X-ray tomorrow sometime. But now let's join Jimmy Hill.
Well, in fact, yesterday's match had me puzzled because it started really very slackly. I thought both sides could have been out doing their Christmas shopping instead of on the field, and I couldn't really understand it because there was a lot to gain for both of them. In fact, of course, it was an extraordinary first goal that set the result going. John Ayres, that delightful little young West Ham player with a very clever dribble, had followed one of West Ham's best movements at that stage of the match. And this is what happened. Here's the movement coming up to start with. There's Bobby Moore, as always, coolly playing in outer defence. Jimmy flicks it up, Jimmy Greaves there, and it's this first-time ball there from Lindsay which sets Arias away. It pushes him a bit wide, but it does give us a chance, as we slow this down, to see the great dribbling skill of this lad. There's a touch of the Georgie Best coming up here. There he is, balancing it nicely. Houseman on him. Now, what's that little flick? We've seen that type of thing before from Best. But it's all of a sudden that kick from Harris that does the damage. We stay on Harris as he watches it, but look what happens now. That's where it went. Osgood's right the way through. He beats the goalkeeper beautifully. And, of course, then, it's a very easy job to put the ball in the net after that. And Peter Osgood went on to score the second goal and give Chelsea a 2-goal lead, and it looked as if they might run away with it from them. But West Ham came back with this goal from Frank Lampard. We've seen before Lampard's skill at volleying on the edge of the box. For a fullback, he does it probably as well as anybody in the league. Just watch how he keeps it down. He doesn't only hit it hard, but he keeps it on the floor. A couple of bounces there and in the corner. Now, yesterday, I thought Peter Bonetti might have seen his skill at that on the big match and been wider awake to stop that kind of shot. But now we look from behind the goal at Bonetti's problems and how difficult it is for a goalkeeper to see the shot from that position. Here comes the shot now. You can see him moving fractionally late because he had no sight of the ball. Normally, Bonetti, with a clear sight of that ball, could have walked across and kicked it out. But that's one of the problems of modern football. Packed defences make life harder for the goalkeeper. But now the moment for me was Peter Osgood struggling to get his hat-trick. Not really struggling because he had 2 or 3 very good attempts, and then came this one. There's the run, stealing in between the West Ham defence. Bit of a weakness there, I think, in West Ham. I think even with Taylor and Moore, there's a great chance to get in between them. And look at that header. Ferguson goes up fractionally too late, as a goalkeeper's only liable to from a header of that power. Well, in fact, those 2 goals from Peter Osgood were enough to win the game for Chelsea. But like every game, it had its share of arguments about whether it was a goal or whether it wasn't a goal. There were 2 particular ones in this match. The first one, which brought up the old hoary chestnut of the business of offside. Is a man offside when the ball is played? Or if he is, what happens when there's a deflection on the way? This was a perfect example of that. And a referee in these circumstances can't really be wrong, or neither can a linesman. But let's have a look at this one now and see what you would have given. It's a good tackle here. There's Webb heading it away. A good tackle here by Trevor Brooking. And as he lays the ball through, watch how it comes off Webb. There he is, number 6. See it deflect off him, and Brian Deere is now, of course, or was all the while in an offside position. But he could either have been given offside or not, depending on which way that law was read. And, of course, when things are running badly for you at the bottom of the league, that's the kind of decision that you get, and that's the expression that only too well represents it. But now we look at the other incident. You see the referee's right on the spot here, and I thought he may have penalised Chelsea from them. That's Tommy Baldwin tackling well, and as he hooks it out, you can just see the referee move. I think it's at that point, just on the edge of your frame, his whistle goes into his mouth. The ball goes through to Osgood, who gets what he thought was his hat-trick, but of course it wasn't. Anyway, I've no complaints about that, really. I thought it was a fair result on the day. Worries me about West Ham, I still don't think they've got enough players of first division standard to get where they want to get in the league. Johnny Arias is promising, but 17 and rather lightweight. When he does get in the team, I'd like to see him play like Johnny Giles in the middle of the field, and then I think he'll be a sensation. But I don't think he's a lot of help to them now. Chelsea have their problems. First time I've seen them from a while. They're puzzling me. Without any doubt, they're missing Alan Hudson in the middle of the field. I think they're missing McCready and obviously Ian Hutchinson. When they get all that right, it may be in time for the Cup. Then I think you'll see them go again.
2 tremendous matches, of course, that Chelsea have got coming up against Crystal Palace next Saturday in the League and the week after that in the Cup. But our next action on the programme, in fact, is the big match that they had in the Midlands yesterday. Stoke City against Derby County, and you're going to see now a minute in the life of goalkeeper Les Green of Derby County, a minute of ups and downs in his life. As we join commentator Hugh Johns, the pictures come from ATV. Stoke City are in the striped shirts.
Law moving it across for Hazelgrove. Inside for Easton. George Easton looking for a striped shirt off the ball somewhere. Picks up Smith. Paychick for Skeels. Marsh.
Long one. Smith going for it. Oh, what a magnificent save. Dennis Smith robbed there of a perfect goal by a most magnificent save from Les Green. That's as good as anything I've seen this season. Wonderful piece of football. Everything right. Harry Burrows then with this corner. And blow up, and it's gone straight in the net, but it's a goal given. The goal is gone. Harry Burrows has scored.
So you see what I mean. A save, I suppose, that would be as good as any you'll see all season there by Les Green, and then tragically in the very next moment, a goal goes straight in from the corner kick, and that doesn't happen too often. Our third match on the programme today gives us, happily, a chance to look at Charlton Athletic, battling so hard to get away from the danger area at the bottom of the second division. In fact, their form shows some signs of improvement. And yesterday they got off to a very good start with a goal after 65 seconds against Bristol City down at Ashton Gate. Charlton Athletic are kicking from left to right. The commentator is Roger Malone, and the pictures come from HTV.
Kicking off for Charlton. Charlton in the all-white, playing left to right. Bristol City in the crimson, the red playing right to left. That's Charlton in the white, and straight away it's play over there in front of the new Dolman stand, which makes such a difference to this ground. It looks a real football stadium now. Kenning with the throw for Charlton. Dennis Bond there picking the ball up for Charlton. Cost £25,000 from Spurs, this boy, 6 weeks ago. Kenning crosses it, Plum's on that one. Loses control. Davis a little chip forward. Offside there. Offside against Peacock. But a nice nice start there by Charlton, I think. That's Keith Peacock. Sharp's first touch of the ball. Davis. Good ball indeed to Bonds. A chance. It's there. He's given it. It's a goal. A terrible mistake there by Mike Gibson, and Dick Plum has put Charlton ahead. Bruck with the free kick. Tracy running in there, but Drysdale concedes the corner kick. Drysdale covered well, number 3 there, preventing Tracy getting a header to it. And Davis will take the corner there, over on the left. It's there. Plum, the scorer. The Bristol City defence in tatters as that corner came over. Peacock was allowed to get a header to it. It dropped down, and Dickie Plum there, centre of picture, made no mistake. And it's Bristol City 0, Charlton 2.
But things didn't go so well for Charlton in the second half.
Went knew he was outside the box when he made that tackle. Chance missed. Jerry Sharp missed the ball completely there. My goodness me, what have Bristol City got to do to put this ball in the net? They keep missing these chances. They can't save this game if they keep missing them like this. Wimshurst holding off Davis cleverly there. And he's gained the free kick. Davis insists that Wimshurst was unfairly shielding the ball from him, turning his back on him, but the referee was right on the spot. In it goes, headed away by Went. Drysdale to Wimshurst. Wimshurst going to float it in. Is Rooks there? Yes! A very good goal indeed by Dickie Rooks, number 5 there. Ken Wimshurst very cleverly and patiently built the move up, and Dickie Rooks has got it in the net at last. Well, Charlie Wright taking his time. He can sense that the Bristol side is really hungry for another goal, and Charlie Wright wants it all to simmer down. Garland's in there. Must be a penalty. It must be a penalty. When number 5 there pulled Chris Garland back. It had to be a penalty. Referee was quite right. Referee Ivan Smith there. He's indicated to the goalkeeper he must stay on his line, keep his feet still until the kick's taken. Sharp making sure the ball is nicely placed and not in a divot. Can he equalise for Bristol City? It's there! It's there by a matter of inches, hit the underside of the crossbar. Jerry Sharp has equalised. Davies, good ball to Peacock. Very good ball out of defence, and now Chant on the attack. It's Keith Peacock buzzes away down the left here. Gow. Oh, nice pass. Chance for Plum. Hit the post.
Well, the Charlton fans keep telling me that their side are playing well enough to get away from the very bottom of the second division. I sincerely hope they're right. It certainly didn't look as they had too much of the luck there yesterday. But I think we ought to have a look again at that really remarkable penalty that hit the crossbar twice and finally went over that line by a matter of inches. It just proves that when things aren't going for you, they really aren't going for you.
Well, in fact, he takes quite a long run for this penalty, and I think that's why the ball lifts as it does. And it crashes against the crossbar. Obviously, so much power. Look at the way it hits the bar. At that point, it's in. Now it's out again. Goes up and hits the bar. Well, it's half in there. Now it's out. And finally, the spin of the ball, it turns and goes over the line. When your luck's in, it's in.
And Bristol City, of course, will be hoping that that luck holds for them when they come to London on Wednesday for that second leg of the Football League Cup semi-final against the Spurs at White Hart Lane. My feeling is, though, that Spurs are onto a pretty good thing there. But next on the Big Match programme, I think you're onto a pretty good thing, because we're going to look back on a year of the Big Match. The action, the excitement, and the incidents as well. 8 minutes of really fast-moving television coming your way. I still find that so many people come up to me, though, and talk about that amazing confrontation we had in our studio a few weeks back between Malcolm Allison and Alan Mullery. I just wonder if you remember this.
I'm saying I'm a better player than you ever were.
I didn't say you weren't.
No, but this is my opinion against yours. You're entitled to your opinion, but you never ever change your mind, you see. This is the only thing about you. You've got a lot of pride and all that.
You talk about players, you know. It's not a personal thing between you and I. You talk about the standard of players. You talk about World Cup players, talk about midfield men. If you're going to compare yourself with Overath and Beckenbauer and Ball and Bell and these fellas, Montione, you know, if you think you're as good a player as them, I don't think you're as good a player as them. I think you're a good passer of ball, a good one-pace player, but no acceleration. I don't think you're good in the air.
Is this a problem in no acceleration?
It's a problem if you're talking about world-class players.
There's stacks of players that have got no acceleration.
Alan Ball hasn't got any acceleration.
I'm as quick as Bally is. I don't say I'm a better player than Bally is, but I'm as quick as Bally is any day.
Well, at least it finished with a handshake, and Jim Manning of the Evening Standard was another of our guests.
We've got to root out the problem of crowds who can't behave themselves, who spend all the match booing, stirring up the whole business, misbehaving themselves very often in a violent way to and from the matches, and you have players on the field who pay the referee and the linesman no respect at all, and you get clubs who condemn referees in public. Now, how can you run football like that? You tell me any sport other than soccer where this happens.
By drawing attention to it when it happens, Jim, and not when it doesn't happen.
One week, we had a laugh with Eric Morecambe.
You get very excited? I mean,
I'm afraid so, yes.
Yesterday's match, there was a bit of pressure in it, wasn't there?
Well, let me put it this way, that I came with a straight pipe. I look at it today. Yeah.
The last word there, of course, had to be with Eric Morecambe himself.
Thank you very much indeed.
It's my pleasure.
Pleasure to have you on the programme.
Thank you very much indeed. Is it check in the post?
It checks in the post.
Oh, that's
it's
lovely.
even nicer to know that you sit there every Sunday afternoon watching Brian and I.
It's perfectly true. That's perfectly honest. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
I'll see you then.
Laughter off the field, but a lot of tension on the field, as we saw when we went to Chelsea.
But Hudson. Osgood. McClintock taking a buffeting there in the chin, and McClintock and Osgood getting stuck into each other, right under the eyes of the referee. And the book is out. The book is out for the name of Peter Osgood to go into it. And it looks as though McClintock also is going in. Well, there's Osgood's name anyhow. Well, it looks as though McClintock is in as well, and they're still going on.
And amongst the Manchester United players.
Steve James and Fitzpatrick and Law. There's a fight, in fact, between the United players on the field. Angry with each other, and Dennis Law in the middle of it. David Sadler as well, angry obviously with Mallory, who is acting very wisely and sensibly as a peacemaker. But obviously Law, full of anger and anguish that this 2-goal lead should have been lost. And there, at the end, exactly as it should finish.
But of course, what we like the most of all are the goals. Last year's golden goal by George Graham.
Radford going in again. And again. And now George Graham. A little 1-2, a chance for Graham. Oh, a magnificent goal by Graham. What a superb goal by Graham.
But one of the best this season was scored in Austria by an Italian named Mazzola, the number 8. Well, a spectacular goal, but now the moment of glory for all Watford fans when their team drew level with Chelsea in an FA Cup semi-final at Tottenham.
Headed by McCready, straight there for Garbutt. Still Garbutt with a shot, and a goal by Garbutt!
But Chelsea won that one and the final against Leeds after a replay with this goal by David Webb.
And a beautiful long throw again there by Hutchinson, Jack Charlton, and it's there! And it's Webb!
But Arsenal did their share of winning last season, the first vital goal now in their Fairs Cup final at Highbury against Anderlecht of Belgium.
McClintock to Kelly. Made a little space for himself there, Kelly, and a bit more there as well. And a goal by Kelly!
And we enjoyed watching the top personalities like George Best, the cheekiest of his 6 goals in a cup tie against Northampton.
Best, here's the record. There it is. Georgie Best sets a new scoring record for Manchester United. 6 goals in a game.
And we had Eusebio taking penalties against our own Gordon Banks.
Everyone converted up to now. And that one came off the floor and Banks was able to make a save. And there's the lovely sportsman that Eusebio is smiling away. Now, will he change his mind now? Is he going to change sides in the goal? No.
And in fact, he scored 9 out of 10. Now, sometimes we praised and sometimes we criticised the referees. Sometimes they made the pictures themselves on the day that Bobby Moore took the whistle.
And Bobby Moore straight into the referee, knocked out the referee. That really was a powerful header away by Bobby Moore, and the referee is completely knocked out.
The referee has fallen over and is in some discomfort. Mr. Diamond is having difficulty getting up. Mr. Diamond has twisted himself. There is an appeal for any registered FA referee or linesman to report to the office. And a gentleman is taking his coat off in the tunnel below us. And he obviously came ready, or he's changed very quickly.
Well, a stop for minor repairs there, but a major repair was called for when this happened in the Swindon-Sunderland match. In the second half, this incident happened.
There's Stewart, and he hit the bar. And there go the goalposts. The tiniest fellow on the field, little Bobby Kerr.
Well, no doubt Gary Sprake hoped that the whole world would crash in on him when he led in this soft one against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park.
Taylor taking on Davey. Payne right up there. Bobby Tambling. Sewell trying to lift it in under that crossbar. And a goal! Oh, what a mistake by Sprake! And Sewell has equalised. Oh, and Sprake furious with himself, as indeed he ought to be.
Well, we've been out in all weathers bringing you those pictures, but rarely in rain as heavy as we found it at the Orient.
The clouds absolutely black overhead now. The corner comes across, no? The referee, in fact, has taken the players in, presumably until this clears off a little. The crowd don't like it. But I think the football has been good enough in this opening 35 minutes or so for them to probably stay in spite of the rain and wait for the resumption.
Well, a cheery cameraman there, but we had cheering crowds at the Kop at Liverpool. So some of the great moments of 1970. Let's hope we have just as many in 1971. To finish with a little bit of a laugh, you often ask us how goalkeepers react when their own side scores a goal. I think Bobby Ferguson of West Ham can give us the answer at Chelsea yesterday. Mind you, this one was disallowed. And look how he's jumping for joy. Christmas celebrations in advance there. Boxing Day next Saturday, we shall all be on duty for On the Ball in World of Sport. The big match next Sunday comes from Children's Ward of a famous hospital with top stars around to watch as well. A Merry Christmas to you, and thanks indeed for all your cards to us.